I'm super pumped because we are talking about Dragon Ball in the world of My Hero Academia. And even more importantly, I'm not alone today. With me, I have the amazing Dragon Ball What If YouTuber, Smug.
Hey everyone, I'm Smug and I am delighted to be here.
Go ahead and check him out on his channel right after this video. There's a link down in the description. But before we get into today's video, I want Smug to go over a few ground rules.
1. Because this is the world of My Hero Academia and not Dragon Ball, all characters will be human and not alien. If they look alien, that is simply because of their quirk. 2. Due to Goku and Vegeta not being able to be Saiyans, we will connect them as cousins. 3. Because all Dragon Ball characters are way more powerful than My Hero Academia characters, they have been scaled down to fit this universe.
Exactly. So no planet exploding death balls or anything like that will be found in this story. With all that being said, let's do this. Two boys inherited a powerful emitter type quirk referred to as ki manipulation. It allowed them to harness an inner energy that they called ki. The older was named Vegeta, after his father's pro-hero name, King Vegeta. The younger was called Goku. These cousins spent their days locked in a rivalry. Vegeta trained his body and mind for the rigorous combat involved in hero work. Meanwhile, Goku tended to goof off more and often got himself into fights.
These differences carried over into manifestations of their quirks. Vegeta used ki to enhance his body, increasing his physical abilities. Goku's goofy nature carried over to his quirk. He preferred to store up ki and use it to fire energy blasts. He then named these attacks and reused them as signature techniques. His most used one was of course the Kamehameha. Both of these boys dreamed of being pro-heroes. For Vegeta, his drive was the desire of fame and glory, at least on the outside. In truth, he wanted his father to be proud of him. The man had been severely injured in the battle against the villain. Paralyzed from the waist down, King Vegeta was being eaten away by anger and regret, feelings that he often took out on his son and wife. Goku, on the other hand, wanted to achieve his father's dream. Though the man had died while he was way too young to remember, his mother often spoke of Bardock and his vigilante alter ego of the Masked Saiyan. The boy wanted to become the pro-hero that his father never got the chance to be.
As they grew, so did their powers. Then the day came when both thought that they were ready to enter their school of choice, UA High. Neither of them felt anxious. All they had to do was destroy more robots than anyone else. They were split up and sent to different sections of a city-like exam battle arena. Goku soon found out that his signature Kamehameha was super effective against the robots. He blew several away with just one attack. It took him a few more attacks to realize it was more effective against opponents standing in a line. Once he had that figured out, the rest of the exam was a breeze. Vegeta fared just as well, using his body enhancing techniques. His increased speed let him dodge away with ease. His strength was enough to punch holes through his targets. Then came the big one, a massive robot worth no points at all. The boy showed no fear, determined to prove his strength. He unleashed energy from his feet to propel him into the air and came down with an elbow. It did no damage. He unleashed a barrage of small balls of ki. The blast did no damage, but got the machine's attention. Vegeta's arrogance had put him into a predicament. The robot snatched him up. It pulled back its arm and prepared to launch the boy. A buzzer sounded through the exam area. The robot stopped. The exam was over. All in all, the boys had only a few scratches, bumps, and bruises. Neither were seriously wounded.
They went home and anxiously awaited the results. A week later, they received their hologram of All Might telling them they had been accepted. He also informed them that he would be one of the teachers. While neither of them were All Might fans, like Deku and Bakugo, they both respected the #1 hero.
Vegeta was not pleased to hear his cousin had also made it. The idea of sharing a classroom with Goku was annoying. He knew himself the better. The first day of school proved otherwise, at least in some areas. Goku befriended the shy, nice kid Izuku Midoriya. Along with Izuku, there was Tenya Ida and Ochako Uraraka. These four were fast friends.
The older boy avoided his classmates, especially one in particular, a blonde boy that was always yelling. That kid, Katsuki Bakugo. He seemed to be angry and arrogant all the time. Despite such similar feelings, Vegeta could not stand him. There were a few that he thought could tolerate, like Tokoyami, Koda, and Shoji. They were quiet. Still, his pride kept him from approaching them.
Eraserhead brought the class outside in order to test their quirks. The loud, angry one sent the ball flying into the distance. Vegeta was next. With a deep breath, he stepped forward and grabbed the ball. There was a whoosh as he unleashed the energy inside himself through physical means. The ball soared off and just barely fell short of the first throw. With a huff, Vegeta both acknowledged his feat and dismissed the failure to be number one. Others used their quirks to do well, but once it came to Goku, the boy placed the ball between his hands. He let loose all of his inner energy with a call of his signature attack, the Kamehameha, dragged the ball up and out as it disappeared into the distance. Bakugo and Vegeta were flabbergasted. Katsuki immediately tried to direct the feeling of anger toward Deku, especially once the boy took his turn. This dissuaded Vegeta from making a scene.
All Might held the battle trial. Vegeta watched it all, carefully studying his competition. Goku, on the other hand, grew bored and tired, wanted to simply spar. When he was hungry, the boy caused such a disturbance that All Might had to send him outside of the room for timeout. With an uneven number of teams, All Might asked for volunteers to go again with Goku and Vegeta. Ida stepped in to help his new friends. Tokoyami did the same thing for Vegeta, a gesture that the boy appreciated even if he refused to show it. The last two were to play the villains.
All four were transported to a building with a large open space in the center that held the hero's team's objective. Vegeta protected it while Tokoyami hid for a sneak attack. Unfortunately for the bird-faced boy, he ran into Goku first. His dark shadow was a bad matchup against the light-emitting energy waves that the other boy used. The boy used a Kamehameha to light up the corridor. As dark shadow rescended from it, Ida made his way past. The boy with engines in his legs soon found himself facing Vegeta. Though Vegeta was not quite as fast, he used his cunning to formulate a plan. He moved away from Ida's objective. The faster boy took the bait. Before he reached it, several ki blasts hit him in the side and the face. They knocked him off course and blinded him before he got his bearings. Vegeta pounced and made sure he was out of the trial.
Meanwhile, Goku had begun to grasp the weakness of his enemy. He stopped using his signature techniques and fired off only small blasts. He knew he would need the ki left to face his cousin. If Ida didn't finish the job, that is. These smaller blasts did the trick. They allowed for the boy to get around Tokoyami and his quirk. Goku made his way to the center, where he found his cousin. Vegeta stood there and tapped his foot impatiently. When his eyes fell on the younger boy, he smiled. He gave a small speech about how happy he was that they got to face each other. It was the perfect time to prove himself as leagues ahead of his cousin. Vegeta continued to ramble on, so Goku placed his hands together while he yelled. The other cousin's smile grew wider.
Vegeta teased the other boy. He stated that even if he blew the objective away, it would not help him win. He continued on about how the younger boy had rarely ever hit him with the attack. It took too long to charge. Then Goku did something unexpected. He jumped, turned away from his cousin, and fired the Kamehameha away from the objective. The energy sent him flying. Vegeta was completely caught off guard. Goku's attack propelled him past Vegeta and into the objective. The buzzer sounded and All Might called them back to the control room. All Might told Vegeta that he was very in character with that monologue. However, the arrogance that led him to do so was his greatest weakness. Goku was complimented on finding a new way to use his signature attack. It showed an intelligence the boy refused to display in the classroom. The class was then dismissed for lunch.
Goku went to sit with his friends, though Midoriya was missing. Deku was still in the infirmary. As per usual, Goku carried 3 trays, one in each hand, and another balancing on his head. He set them down and took a seat next to Ida. After shoving the whole sandwich in his mouth, the boy tried to express his gratitude. Ida wiped away a speck of food that flew from Goku's mouth and hit him in the forehead. He muttered something about the boy being raised by animals. Ochako laughed and praised Goku for such an inventive win.
On the other side of the cafeteria, Vegeta forced himself to take a seat next to Tokoyami. He didn't speak any words of gratitude, but the boys seemed to understand. The two ate in silence. The cafeteria televisions flashed with a breaking news story. A news anchor spoke about a villain that was recently spotted in Japan again.
A picture appeared on the screen. It showed a human face, adorned with horns, and a large purple spot between them. Underneath the picture was his name, Frieza, the Freezer. It went on to talk about how villains had chosen their names. It was based off of his ice quirk, a quirk that allowed him to create ice from his fingers.
Vegeta scrunched up into a scowl. Tokoyami tried to ask him if he knew the villain, but the boy just shook his head. Both returned to eating in silence. The news carried on, but the story lingered in Vegeta's mind.
Days later, the class was brought to USJ to do rescue training. Then, the League of Villains attacked. Most of the class was split up and sent to different areas by Kurogiri's quirk. The cousins were spat out into thick forestal areas. Vegeta sighed in disgust at the circumstances, while Goku's stomach growled. He simply complained. Instinct saved him. As it begged him to move, he did, avoiding a sharp spike made of ice. A small figure floated into view. It sat comfortably in a black and yellow hoverpod. When Vegeta's eyes fell upon the assailant, he froze. The being in front of him exuded an unprecedented level of confidence. The pod carrying the small inhuman-looking being with purple spots, horns, and a tail moved closer. The distance between them dwindled. Vegeta willed himself to move. It didn't help. He was weighed down by fear. The enemy stopped a few feet away and studied the boy. Moments later, he spoke.
That face, that hairstyle, so familiar.
Vegeta swallowed. The sensation felt like blades sliding down his throat. Everything inside him screamed at him to run, but his pride wouldn't allow it. He sputtered out a single word. A name.
Freezer! Goku stepped closer to them and questioned Vegeta about their opponent. The proud boy had a rare moment and followed the name up with a single sentence. He's the man that paralyzed my father!
The moment of silence that followed would forever echo inside of Goku. It was broken by screams as Frieza attacked Vegeta. The thing fired an ice shard from his finger. It dug into the boy's leg. The sound shook Goku, but it provided him with strength, focusing in a way that Vegeta would never see him do. The boy called out,
Kaioken!
All the muscles in the boy's body bulged and radiated with powerful energy. He dashed forward while the man was in his pod. Goku's speed outmatched his. His first blow punched a hole clean through the side. He pulled his hand out, several wires with it. It exploded, and the younger boy was sent flying back.
Frieza emerged from the wreckage, his face twisted with rage. Goku leaped forward. His increased strength was enough to turn the tide. Blow after blow landed. For a moment, it looked like he was winning. Vegeta could only watch in anger. He was furious that his cousin had hidden such a technique from him. It was a perfect mix of his body enhancing and Goku's ki charging. After being smacked around a little, Frieza stepped back. With a glare, he lifted his finger. An enormous ice ball appeared. The enemy let loose a bout of hysterical laughter as he directed the frozen object toward Goku. With the intake of a sharp breath, the boy began to yell, May.
Vegeta rises from the ground, still terrified by their enemy, but enraged at his cousin. He muttered,
You're not the only one with a signature attack. Gallic May God!
The two forces of ki merged and washed over Freezer. He disappeared in a show of blazing light and energy. As the power dissipated, the villain could be seen standing behind an ice wall, unharmed. The boys felt disheartened. Two of their best attacks hadn't even phased him. Goku felt a burning sensation in his muscles, all over his body. Instincts compelled him to power down out of Kaioken. Above them, from a distance, they saw a large black creature fly into the air. Freezer saw it too. He seemed unnerved by it. With a growl, he said,
Mark my words, this isn't over, boys.
With their opponents out of the way, they headed back to the entrance. The two reached it at the same time as the pro heroes bought by Ida. It turned out they were not the only ones fighting for their lives. These battles would be the main topic of conversation for students over the next couple of days.
And with that ends our story. I want to thank you so much for coming onto our channel today. Smug, you were awesome.
Thank you so much for watching, guys. This was a pleasure. I hope to make my own version of this crossover sometime in the future.
That would be awesome. I can't wait to watch it. If you haven't checked out Smugstick's awesome Dragon Ball What Ifs, you need to go head over there right now. And thanks again, guys, for watching. Make sure that you subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. And we will see you guys next time.